I recently got a really good question on our Facebook page for the law offices of Darren T. Mish, and so I wanted to answer it here. My name's Darren Mish. I'm a tax attorney based in Tampa, Florida, and I represent IRS problem resolution clients all over the United States and throughout the world. The question went like this: Darren, I owe $13,000 to the IRS. Can I make a deal to settle for $4,000? And the answer is it's not impossible, but probably not. And here's why I say that. What the person is alluding to is something called an offer in compromise. An offer in compromise is a program set up by Congress to where taxpayers can make a deal to settle for less with the IRS. You hear about these on TV and radio all the time, and they are real. But like most things, there are conditions, based upon or placed upon this program. So here's how it works. The IRS looks at your monthly disposable income, which is the difference between your gross income and your monthly allowable expenses. So they look at your monthly disposable income, multiply that by 12, add in the value of your assets, and that equals the amount of your offer in compromise. So let me give you an example. If you had $100 a month in disposable income, 100 times 12 is $1,200. Let's assume you had no assets. You might be able to settle that case for $1,200. Now here's where the exception, the real big exception, comes into play. And in order to understand this, you have to understand that there is a statute of limitations for the collection of tax. Darren, what's that mean? Well, when the taxpayer files a tax return with a balance due, generally speaking, the IRS has 10 years to collect that balance due. And so in this situation, the exception is if your monthly disposable income is sufficient to full pay within the life of the statute of limitations, then you don't get a deal. They just want you to pay the full balance. And that kind of makes sense if you think about it. If somebody owed you money and they had plenty of time to pay it back and they had plenty of income to pay it back and or assets, you wouldn't want to make a deal probably. You just want the money paid out to you on a monthly basis. So in this situation, if this particular person who asked the question could demonstrate that their monthly disposable income was really low, like say $50 to $80 a month, and had no assets, it might work. But the reality of the situation is the less you owe the IRS, the more difficult it is to make a deal. And that's because of that exception that deals with the statute of limitations. So again, is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. I have done cases like that. But to be frank, a $14,000 liability is much more difficult for me to compromise than a $140,000 liability. And it all goes back to common sense. If you were trying to make an argument that you couldn't pay back $140,000, does that make more sense than you can't pay back $14,000? I think it does. So if you have any other questions, I encourage you to post those to our Facebook page and I'll make custom videos like this. But otherwise, you can visit our website at getirshelp.com or you can give us a call at 888-GET-MISH.